So United States Air Force, which I was in, Lance Castle, he refused to take the fun juice shot, and he was labeled an insider threat. He was given 60 days pretrial confinement. He missed the birth of his first son, which infuriated. This is one of the main things that got me into the story. He was sent to a court-martial, and he stood trial on 5 Uniform Code of Military Justice charges. Thank God he ended up being acquitted. He stood his ground. God bless him. So many Americans were denied religious exemption and coerced into complying. I do have a video. Kelly, you have the video, right? And guys, so mind you, he refused it. They got him locked up, and now they're grabbing him. I don't know if they're trying to give it to him or they're trying to move him out of the cell. Kelly, that's not it.
Is this video, is this from the height of the pandemic, like 2020, 2021?
I think it's right around there. Kelly, do you have it? Do you want me to send it to you?
Yeah, I don't have it.
You don't have it? Okay, give me 1 second. Well, just as before she shows the video, because General, you were in. What year did you get out?
Well, I got out in 2009, but my son-in-law did not take
the thing.
The thing.
Yeah.
And he got he was Army sergeant.
Okay.
And he got pulled from professional development schools that would enhance his career development. He got pulled from air assault school.
Oh,
And,
wow.
And you know, having been a senior leader in DOD and in the Army, you know, I had some access to people, and I said, "What's going on here?" And they checked into it, and of course, you know, the chain of command, you know, all told the senior leadership, "Oh yeah, no, we're not doing anything to him." But at the low level, nothing really changed, and there's like 15 layers of bureaucracy between him and the senior leadership that I was talking to, and it really bothered me. He didn't get what this airman got, but it was tantamount to that, because here you had a great young American that raised his hand, everybody counts or nobody counts, raised his hand to go fight, and he was being denied school, being denied training that would allow him to progress through the ranks, all because he made a choice.
And General, how much of this? I mean, again, my opinion, but I feel very strongly about my opinion. I believe that the whole COVID whole situation, the fact that this whole lab leak BS coming from a country that is our adversary, and the deep state and what have you, how much of this do you think could have been a set-up plan? Especially for something like that, General, where this country knows that the military, this would have to be a mandatory type of situation to affect these people, because I do have some stats at the end, but how much of that do you think plays into something as China being such an adversary?
Well, I think China, having done this, think about how many people died from COVID, 6, 7 million, 9 million, something like that.
Yeah, the numbers are...
That's a weapon of mass destruction that they created.
Yep.
And the fact that the corporate media was denying right out of the gate that it had anything to do with a Chinese lab, that it was some monkey in a wet market with
eating a bat's leg or some crap.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It was crazy. And you know, I've had COVID twice, right? And the first time was pretty early on, and I'll tell you, it was very. I was completely healthy, and then one day this stuff's in my lungs. I have pneumonia, and it was pretty wild. And so when I look at the forensics of this in the corporate state media that we've got today, that lies through their teeth on a routine basis to protect the narrative, and the narrative had to become, this is Donald Trump's fault.
Of course.
This is a way to get Trump. Trump's not doing enough. He's doing too much. He's doing the wrong things.
Yeah.
It didn't matter what he did.
Oh, of course.
And then remember those counters that were up there, you know, number of people lost, and they're big red, you know, every CNN.
Oh, CNN, the death toll tracker, like it was a freaking,
But remember, like when Biden took over, it actually got worse, but the counters went away.
Disappeared, yeah,
right.
exactly.
So it was all, if it wasn't pre-planned in some way, it certainly became a What's that saying? Never waste a crisis.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, all
Never
those
let a
guys.
good crisis
Yeah.
go to waste.
Caitlin, I want to know your thoughts, Caitlin, and then I want to play this video. What do you think about this whole situation?
Oh, I have a lot to say, but
Good.
I'll take a little positive spin on this. I think there is a great awakening happening right now in society, and I think I think you have to be paying attention very closely to notice it. But there is this awakening happening in this country with Americans taking control of their health again. Their ladies are coming off birth control. We're all realizing where to get source good food, organic products, how to eat correctly, stay away from anything Bill Gates is pushing.
100%.
Don't eat any of that.
Yep.
And we're becoming more awake to what big tech is pushing, what big pharma is pushing, and the message is spreading. So it might not be right in your face on social media because we get canceled and censored for putting this information out there, but Americans are finding ways to get this information. Why, though, that we still don't have answers to how all of this went down, a weapon of mass destruction, and we still don't have answers?
Right.
My question is, do they really think Americans are just this naive or stupid, for lack of a better word? That
I
we're
think
just,
they do, Caitlin. I really do.
That's truly disturbing. But
Yeah.
but Americans are fighting back, and the real success story here will be if we know how to take care of ourselves and we don't have to rely on these answers or the government.
And very good point, and I agree with you as well that you guys are both agreeing. I think the people are waking up, but a lot of people lose that faith and hope because they know that this power, this control force of all these like interests, they set up the pieces to the game so where even if this information, think about it, if you talk about this on certain platforms, the majority, X is the only one I believe, General, that you could talk about it.
Right.
They take you down, they demonetize you, they make you look. By the way, guys, I still get furious when I look back. Last night I performed and I talked about the pandemic slightly. I'm so angry of what they did to us, what they did, how they affected the kids, all these rules, all this, turned mail-in voting, nothing of that magnitude is ever by accident. That's because everything falls into place so perfect that people go, well, they just took advantage. And I agree with I forgot who was, Rahm Emanuel was the one about the never let a disaster or whatever a good crisis go to waste. You created the crisis.
Right.
You piece of trash. and we're suffering. So I want to play this video. Kelly, you can fast forward it, babe, to like 10 seconds right before they go in. Like, guys, mind you, this is a senior airman. I think he did way over 10 years. Kelly, a little bit fast forward right before they go. Oh, yeah, rewind it a little bit, babe. So, guys, this guy signed up to fight and potentially lose his life for the country. Look at how they're treating him because he said, listen, I want to be exempt. I don't want to put anything in my body that can harm me. And, Kelly, can you put the volume up and just play this, guy? This is a soldier in the military. Go ahead.
Get on the floor. Get on the floor.
Look at this, Rob.
Get on the floor. Let's go.
Look at this. Look at this.
Get on the floor. Get on the fucking floor. Stop resisting.
Where's the handcuff? I need a handcuff right now.
Get his arm.
Look at, we're trying to put his arm.
Here, get the handcuff to the legs.
I need a handcuff. I'm going for his left arm. All right.
Stop resisting. Stop resisting. Or you will get tagged.
It's on. Left cuff's on.
You will get tagged.
All right, right there.
Just wait.
Dude.
I got left cuff on.
Stop resisting or you will get tagged.
You should have yelled, I can't breathe.
Yeah.
I had to get off him.
Dude, how is he breathing down there? Look at this.
will
1,
get
2,
tagged.
3, 4, 5, 6 people around him.
I got
Put it behind his back.
No, that's good. You can stop. That infuriates me because, and again, I'm going back to China. There are Russia. I can care right now. I can care less. I mean, I know what's going on. Putin, murderer, killer. Okay, he doesn't do half the shit that we do. But when you see something like that, General, that kid, that guy signed up to serve, and if they're doing that to their own, you know how easily these people will turn on us if they're called upon it. What do you think, Connor?
Well, I mean, you saw how people turned on each other when all this went down. They were basically bribing people to report on people who were breaking COVID lockdowns and going out in public when they weren't supposed to.
And they were bribing you to also get the medical procedure. Like, remember when they were like, hey, get the medical procedure and get a free cheeseburger.
Oh my God!
That's like the weirdest thing.
De Blasio.
The Blasio clown, yeah.
Donuts and pizza and burgers and stuff.
So to
help offset a disease that was primarily affecting obese people.
Yes, exactly. And then the solution was you must stay inside and not go outside and get vitamin D from the sun because that would harm you.
And then they arrested surfers for being in the ocean by themselves.
That was the funniest one.
And then they filled in skate parks with sand so that kids couldn't go skateboarding.
In the name of safety.
Get vitamin D, exercise, and all that.
Go Rob, please.
You guys both mentioned a weapon of mass destruction. While I agree, this was a bioweapon of mass destruction. Imagine if Syria or any other foreign country released some type of chemical agent that killed 9 million people. Do you not think that would dominate the news cycle and every single person would be talking about it? Yeah. And there would actually be repercussions for the country that was behind that? But we don't even do that.
Think about China shut down all its borders, all its air travel, but they let air travel internationally go.
And then when Trump said, hey, we shouldn't let anybody that's coming from infected countries into this country, he was deemed racist and xenophobic for not wanting foreigners to come into the country. So at that point, the left was going, well, yes, there's a terrible disease, but no, Donald Trump is racist for not wanting those people who are infected to come to this country. Well, then they blame him for the disease when it spreads through the country, which they fought for those people to come in and spread it.
You remember when, right after the first reports of the virus started coming out, AOC and I believe Nancy Pelosi as well came out and said, no, go to the Chinese New Year street festivals. AOC even said it would be racist for you to not go to a P.F. Chang's because you think
I remember that.
Like, first of all, when was the last time you saw a Chinese person in a P.F. Chang's? They don't work there
Nobody.
anymore. Like that, no Chinese person with any self-respect works at a P.F. Chang's. But this was the kind of thing they were doing because they wanted to make Trump a racist. Up until it was easier for them to make Trump the guy who allowed the disease to run wild, and they switch narratives, and suddenly no one will admit how the American medical establishment was up to their freaking eyeballs in orchestrating this thing. They were helping to fund the labs. They were tied to all these different gain-of-function research things, and they just shipped it all to China, and then it came back to bite us.
Did anybody hear? I lost my job because I refused to take the medical procedure.
The juice.
Yes, I was working. Here's the thing, though. I wasn't working in an office building with other coworkers. I was working remotely from home in Cape Coral, Florida, for a radio station in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, where I did a morning show from my home. I never met the people that I co-hosted the radio show with, ever. I never met my PD, any of the sales staff. I never even stepped foot inside the building in Harrisburg. I didn't go to Pennsylvania the entire time I worked there. But because I did not follow the company mandate, which was to get that medical procedure, I lost my job. Not only did I lose my job, my wife, who did medical billing for Florida Cancer Specialists from home, which, by the way, doesn't even have an office in Florida, she worked from home, and they made the same mandate through her company. She refused to do it as well, and we both lost our jobs at the same time. Yeah. And so we have 2 kids, we have a dog, we have a mortgage, and we went from a dual income family to no income at all because we refused a medical procedure that was untested.
Oh my God!
For what?
Yeah.
And things worked out well. Look where I am now. Thank God.
Thank God
Thank
for
God
that.
for Patrick Bet-David and Valuetainment. I was able to pivot and get into podcasting. But there were millions of Americans that were put in the same position that I was in and weren't able to pivot. They lost their homes. They lost restaurants.
What about the nurses? What about all the nurses in New York that were deemed heroes? We had this moment every night where we would bang pots and pans outside the windows and honoring these men and women as heroes. And then what about them? There was no apology when they were fired and lost their jobs.
Great point. Yeah, and I love that you said that. And this is what drives me.
And there still was no apology. There still is
no, still none. And because the news cycle, we're moving on and it's past, and that's how the media does it. I'm furious that the American people, we were so effed with, and after hearing all these stories, and none of them are positive, none of them. Everybody, I got long COVID, or no, you got vaccine. Injury. I can't believe I just said the V word. But I think we need to get more. Guys, really take a second and think. You hear stories like Rob. I have my own story. What they did to people in New York. Grabbing surfers, arresting them. Everybody's injured. What you're seeing with the senior airmen. We need to get madder and go in the street. Guys, to let this slide, something of this magnitude, and that's why I want to ask you, General, then I'll come to you guys, to you too, Kaylin. How does China... I understand we're in bed with them. They own us with the debt, technology. They steal. They own our asses, General. Sorry for my language, but how do these people of the deep state, our politicians, these horrible actors, how do they let a country like this do that to us in a country that they live in and that their kids live in?
Well, I think how they let that happen was because it served their purposes. So you think about particularly the progressive left, they're craving about political power. You know, power corrupts absolutely,
Yeah.
right? And absolute power corrupts absolutely. And so when they get this kind of power and they saw the ability to do the Rahm Emanuel play,
Yep.
I think that was right, a 90-mile-an-hour fastball right down their wheelhouse that they cranked out of the park. And they were able to frame, because think of what the economy was doing. It was through the roof. Everything was great. Inflation was like 1%.
Yep.
You know, jobless numbers were, you know, the best for minorities in particular. This was a death knell for the Democratic Party. It was an absolute, they were, you know, 2021, 2020 election was going to be a moonwalk for President Trump, unless there was a black swan. And this happened, and they were able to parlay that into a big victory. And I assume they're counting on something similar this
I
year.
was just going to ask you that before we go into Caitlin's story. If you had to pick, General, what do you think will it? I'll give you a couple of options, and if you guys have a couple, please throw them in there. Do you think it's going to be a cyber attack, because this is all going to happen sometime this year? A terrorist attack from one of the ones that are coming in the border, which is obviously by design. Do you think they're going to stage, which I've been hearing this a lot lately, I think me and Connor talked about this, stage some type of intergalactic, aliens are here, because to get everybody to come together, if you have an outside threat, it's martial law. It's like, hey guys, to hell with your laws and your rules. This thing is telling us that it's going to attack unless boom, boom, boom. And I think COVID was a test run to see how far they could get away with it. What if you had to guess, General? Where are you leaning? Because I don't think, I know it's going to happen. I don't know when. What do you think it would be?
Well, you know, I've always said that the Democrats play political hardball. Well, they're in the, you know, major leagues,
Big
whereas
time.
the Republicans are like
Yeah.
AAA ball.
Yeah.
And so they have a plan. They have the near fight, the close end fight, as we call it in the military, and that's all the lawfare against President Trump. They're trying to death by 1,000 cuts internally. Biden administration unleashing all these prosecutors to do all the damage they possibly can. The far fight is the international play. So like the Afghanistan withdrawal led to Russia invading Ukraine, which the outreach to Iran and trying to smoke the peace pipe with them, which was useless, led to Hamas and the brutality in Israel. And so the world is on fire right now. The deliberate ignorance at the border, allowing terrorists to come in, not even pretending to try to stop it. It's this witch's brew for something really terrible to happen. I don't have the intelligence, reports that would tell me that, you know, this or this is going to happen. But you hear Ray talking about China, and you hear Iran talking about attacking Israel. And to me, it's all the things that the progressive left want to happen. They want the world on fire because typically Americans unify when we have some kind of external threat, and that's kind of what they're counting on.